Its international reputation makes the Tokaj-Hegyalja region a symbol for the whole of Hungary. Located in the northeast corner of the country, it produces one of the greatest sweet white wines of the world, the famous Azu, which French King Louis XIV called the wine of kings, the king of wines. The name Torquay is identified the world over with wine, but it has also been included on UNESCO's World Heritage List to protect the characteristic grape cultivation and winemaking culture of this region in the northeastern part of Hungary. The World Heritage part of the Toka foothills, or Hegyalja wine region, encompasses 27 different towns, including the most notable production areas of Torquay. The region lies 240 kilometers northeast of Budapest, Hungary's capital city, in the Zemplen Mountains. The area has unique geological and geographical features, its hills extinct volcanoes. Ancient volcanic and post-volcanic activity produced many types of soil with important effects on its productivity, mineral content, and ability to retain heat, all decisive features in growing grapes. Toka wines are created by highly skilled growers, winemakers, and workers who have been educated in the wine-growing tradition for generations. The Ferment and Hauslevelli grape varieties have been cultivated in the region for centuries, and together with yellow muscat, are the only grape varieties officially permitted to be grown in the region. The oak trees that grow in the higher elevations of the surrounding Zemplen Mountains become the raw material for the barrels used to mature local wines. The wood used in making barrels has an important influence on the wine maturing process, shaping the taste, aroma, and color of the drink. The oak logs out of which the barrel will be made are dried in a large covered area from autumn to summer. They are then split and specially cut into the staves that will form the barrel. The so-called skirt of the barrel, or its staves, is held together with 2 iron hoops, pre-fired with an oak flame and sprinkled with water. This is the most significant step in the process, the so-called roasting of the barrel. The roasting can be accomplished either by hand or by machine. How the barrel is roasted, the variations in time and temperature used, can alter the characteristics of the matured wine. A vast system of cellars was carved out of solid rock between 1400 and 1600 AD. They provide a constant temperature of around 10 to 12 degrees Celsius. The cellars are covered with a characteristic mold, which feeds off the alcohol evaporated during aging and keeps the humidity in the range of 85 to 90%, which is ideal for the aging of Toka wines. The wines from the Tokaj-Hegyalja region are divided into 3 categories. Quality wines including the varietal wines Toka Ferment, Toka Hauslevelli, Toka Muscatali, and Toka Oramus, a new variety. The ancient Oramus cellar is located slightly north of the town of Torquay, in a village called Toksva. Toka Azu is always bottled in a characteristic half-liter bottle with a long neck and generally has the name Torquay emblazoned on its shoulder. Other kinds of bottles are used for other types of wine, such as late harvest and dry wines. There are 2 kinds of wine cellars in the Toka region, the dug cellar and the hole cellar. The former is located under the house, from which its layout takes its size and shape. In contrast, the hole cellar is not connected to the house. From the ground, only a gate made of stone with a wooden or metal door can be seen. The years since 1990 have witnessed great changes in the cellars and wineries of Torquay. The way most Torquay wine is made today has a little in common with the techniques of the past. The main difference between modernizers and traditionalists concerns their attitude toward oxidizing the wine. This unique sorting table is composed of 3 sections. Bunches or parts of bunches of grapes arrive in the outside sections. The azu berries are then removed and put in the table's central section. Hungarian wine culture has two distinct origins, bringing together the Eastern or Caucasian and the Western or Roman traditions. Both traditions are reflected in the methods of cultivation in Tokaj-Hegyalja. Grape cultivation and wine production are thought to have been already established in the region at the time of the Magyar conquest, though there is no concrete evidence to support this theory. Clear evidence of grape growing becomes available following the arrival of settlers from Wallonia in modern-day Belgium, who were brought to the region by King Bela IV in the second half of the 12th century. A royal decree in 1757 established a close production district in Torquay, the world's first system of wine appellation. Classification of the region's vineyards began in 1730 and was completed by the national censuses of 1765 and 1772. Of particular interest is the Cellar labyrinth, created as various whole cellars were joined underground. One example of such a labyrinth is the Rákóczi Cellar in the town of Sárospatak, which extends for approximately 1 kilometer in length. The history of this cellar dates back to the mid-16th century, though it did not reach its present size until much later. The humidity levels and lower temperatures of Tokay's single-vaulted cellars, together with the small size of the barrels used to mature the wine, have undoubtedly contributed to the creation of Tokay's unique character over the centuries. The essentials of the production process are the same today as they were 200 years ago, though the traditional process of winemaking, insofar as it can be determined, appears to differ in several significant ways. For example, the azu berries were once stamped by foot rather than mechanically, as they are today. In addition, must was always blended with azu paste before fermentation. The first written records regarding Tokay date from the year 1353, by which time Tokay and the surrounding area was already well known for its viticulture and wine production. In the 17th century, the settlement was given the official status of market town. The town of Torquay stands at the confluence of the Tisza and Bodrag rivers, near the Kopász hill. Torquay's main street is lined with small shops, reminiscent of a late medieval market town. Throughout the centuries, various groups of people settled here: Saxons, Swabians, Poles, Romanians, Armenians, and Jews, all of whom enriched the town's economic and social life, including its wine culture. This rich variety is reflected in the town's religious and secular architecture. Numerous historic buildings, including the Roman Catholic Church, line Tokay's pedestrian street and surrounding neighborhood. The castle of Toka had an important role in the War of Independence led by the nobleman Ferenc Rákóczi II against the Habsburg dynasty in the early years of the 18th century. Under Rákóczi's command, the center and the southern sections of the medieval town were fortified by walls, bastions, and a moat, though the castle was to be occupied by pro-Austrian soldiers in the winter of 1704. The castle was a property and residence of the Rákóczi family, who ruled Tokaj until the 18th century. Once among the most wealthy Hungarian families, its property was confiscated after Ferenc's rebellion. The castle stands at the foot of the Zemplén Hills on the edge of the Great Hungarian Plain. The present appearance of the building dates to the 19th century renovations carried out by the Betzelheim family, then owners of the castle, in the romantic historic style of the day. After 1950, the building was turned into a museum. It has since become Hungary's principal Rákóczi shrine. Schrank's castle is a true masterpiece, its sculpted stone decoration an outstanding and unique example of Renaissance architecture in Hungary. The construction of the castle's romantic facade belongs to the Renaissance period, though its overall style is eclectic. It is surrounded by an English park. Between 1534 and 1541, a powerful local magnate, Peter Perényi, erected a large 5-floored tower as residential quarters at the southeast corner of the castle's walls, the so-called Red Tower. Once a Benedictine monastery, the castle and fortress, still standing, were turned into a Renaissance palace under Sigmund Rákóczi in the mid-16th century. The castle was closed on the sides and fortified with 2 Italian-style bastions, with service areas on the ground floor and lavishly furnished residential rooms upstairs. Recent restorations have attempted to preserve the castle's Renaissance character. A beautiful building, once a Greek commerce house, is now home to the Torquay Wine Museum. Built in 1790 by the Christmas family, it stands on Torquay's main square. Among the museum's permanent collection is an ethnographical exhibition devoted to the grapes and wines of the Toka region. Since 1990, a considerable amount of investment has gone into the Toka region, creating what has been dubbed the Toka Renaissance. There are now almost 600 wineries in the region, of which about 50 produce the full range of wines. It was to preserve the traditions of wine cultivation, developed over the last 1,000 years, in their authentic form, and to maintain the ancient unity of the wine region, that the UNESCO World Heritage Committee put the historic wine region of Torquay on the World Heritage List in 2002.